What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction, coming at you with another Carl Barks Donald Duck review. I did one last week as I started this series because I saw in a Don Rosa group that Don Rosa, the famed Donald Duck artist, says that you should really read all of Carl Barks' material before reading his material, since his references the source material so much. And since that's the case, and I've been enjoying the Don Rosa books, I figured I would go back in time to the Donald Duck by Carl Barks era. Now, these stories, I don't know when they came out. I stopped reading these the back material where it's people writing articles about the Donald Duck cartoons that are in here, because I really didn't find them all that insightful in the first volume, so I didn't go through it this time. So I'm not exactly sure when these books are from. Maybe it says some on here. Let's see. Nope. This is volume 6, though. So they don't have these volume numbers on the back. I read volume 5 last week, which is Christmas on Bear Mountain, which leads directly into Old Castle's Secret, and I believe these are in chronological order. And we're out through volume 15 as of whatever's printed in here. It starts with the Old Castle Secret, which is the second appearance of Scrooge McDuck. The first was in the last volume, and in the first volume, Scrooge really didn't have much of a personality. He was just a cantankerous old man kind of messing with Donald and the boys. And in this one, he starts to develop the characteristics where he seems like a much more reasonable duck, like he is in the future installments, where he's somebody you actually care about as a character. And so he and the ducks go off to this old castle in the old country to try to find some old treasure because Scrooge needs it for his fortune. Now, Scrooge doesn't have his big money bin and all that at this point. This is all very new, and that all develops a little bit later. So he is at danger of risking his fortune. And you get this sort of a jewel box here, which the boys discover. And there's some hijinks of trying to keep the jewel box and claim there's a ghost and all that, and it turns out there's somebody just trying to steal it. And it's a Scooby-Doo style adventure. It's very fun. I very much enjoyed this. It was a great opening to the whole story. And eventually they do figure it out and get the money. And it turns out there's a chemical that makes people invisible. And this is not unusual. There's always some strange inventions in the Donald Duck verse that show up and weird things happen. But a lot of the time, it is actually natural explanations for what they perceived as supernatural. And in this one, it actually had a weird chemical spray that turned somebody invisible, and that's why they thought it was a ghost. Very odd ending, but a very fun story nonetheless. Next up, we have The Boys Go Bird Watching, and a lot of old-timey sort of deals. Oops, these are a couple one-pager stories. Cute ones. Doctor Visit, next one, after he gets hit in the head with a horseshoe. Then we get into the next larger story. Now, most of these are just 10-page stories in here, and I love the pacing of the 10-pagers. I think I like the pacing of the 10-pagers more than I like the longer 30-something page adventures by Carl Barks, so far at least. I know that Don Rosa really enjoys those 30-something adventures, and he actually does a better job, I believe, of making a little more complicated adventures out of them, so they're a little more meat to chew on each of them. They go a little zanier in the Don Rosa ones, but in Carl Barks, these 10-pagers really shine because they are just bang, 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 and you get the punchlines. It's funny, often makes you care about the ducks, and there you go. This one, Donald has a bet that he bets his entire house that he will go swimming on Christmas Day in the ice. And then it ends up Daisy comes up and saves the day because she made a bet to get Donald's thing back. And it was with his cousin Gladstone, who they always compete over things. And that's the two characters right there. Fun stuff. I know Don Rosa mentioned that he doesn't like Daisy Duck so much, but I actually very much enjoy Daisy Duck's appearances, and I think it adds a little different dynamic to the characters. And I know Rosa doesn't use the characters much also, but very fun also. Over and over. This one is Donald Duck trying to get a job, and he gets one as a night watchman, and all he has to do is stay up all night. And he struggles to do so. So Huey, Dewey, and Louie give hijinks to keep him awake. Very cute. And then Donald, in his sleepwalking, accidentally scares off the robbers and saves the day. So happy ending, even though Donald really is screwing things up. And that's a nice little flow and archetype that you get in a lot of these stories, where Donald Duck gets the happy ending, even though he kind of messes things up. And I like that because you want to see the characters you love win. So it's cute. There's a lot of easy come, easy go storylines to these also, but there's a varying pace of things, and you never know whether the Ducks are actually going to succeed at their mission or not succeed at their mission. And that's actually kind of nice, because in superhero comics you don't really get that. The superhero is always going to win, even if he loses in a particular issue, he's going to win at the end no matter what. So it's either the superhero wins or the superhero loses and then the superhero wins. This has varying stories where the endings change depending on things. And we get actually a few different stories in here by Barks at this point that Donald Duck is getting different jobs. You'll notice that in a lot of these, Huey, Dewey, and Louie have actually the exact same clothes on and everything. You cannot tell them apart whatsoever. And that is something that changes later with the way that they wear different colors so you can signify which one is which. This one, Donald's part of a volunteer fire department, and he keeps screwing up and getting demoted into different problems. Oh, is that this one? Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's a later one. There's too many job ones. This one, Donald Duck is delivering telegrams. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's hard to keep them straight. Whatever. There's a lot of stories in here. And he's trying to get tips, and he actually tries to schmooze the owner of the telegram companies for a tip. And the telegram company owner's like, you know what? You're fired. So, cute. And Huey, Dewey, and Louie actually end up making the tips, even though Donald looked like he was going to from the start. Cute. Let's see. This is one about Donald Duck trying to throw a society party, and then the boys screw things up for him. This was probably one of my least favorite, I think, least memorable ones in the book here. We get Donald Duck in the darkest Africa. So this is back in the time where, you weren't just taking flights over to different continents and could just see stuff on the internet all the time and just actually know what different continents were like so much. And so, there were sort of these visions of like, there's, light Africa and darker Africa and darkest Africa. And, it's a romanticism in some ways of different areas of the continent. And this is supposed to be the area where there's, thick jungles and you don't know what's going on and nobody's really explored it. That's the darkest Africa in these books. And it's pretty fun. So Donald Duck gets hired to find a rare butterfly, and he is fighting off another butterfly enthusiast. And they go and deal with elephants and crocodiles. There's lots of fun stuff. I love the cartoony way that the elephants are drawn. Super cute. And they're riding the elephant through here. Get an elephant stampede later, and lots of fun stuff. Huey, Dewey, and Louie end up hatching tons of butterflies of this super rare butterfly that they thought was once in a lifetime to spot, and sure enough, they get a ton of them. Cute. Very cute. Let's see. There's a one-pager again. A couple one-pagers thrown right in there. Of course, I like baseball stuff. I'm a big fan of when it gets into baseball scenarios, and I thought this one was really cute as Huey, Dewey, and Louie go through that. Let's see. This one, Donald Duck is dealing with a child psychologist, and Carl Barks, I know, liked to take from news stories and different things in the day, and I have to wonder if the child psychology and let the children do what they want so they can thrive was something that he was seeing back in this time period. Child psychology always is kind of ridiculous and always over the top in the way that it's handled, and Donald Duck goes over the top to listen to the psychologist, and hijinks ensue. It's always hijinks ensue, right? And then we get into a less real one, where again we get a weird exploration and a romanticism, because again we're in a space back in here where we have not explored the moon and know it's just a dead planet. So this is a rocket race to the moon, and eventually they go up there, and there's air on the moon, and there's moon monsters on the moon, and they make their way back. This is one of those easy come, easy go situations where Donald Duck goes back to try to sell papers, and He even loses his papers in this one. Like I said, you never know whether Donald's going to win or Donald's going to lose. There will be a joke in it either way, and it'll be fun either way. In this one here, Donald Duck joins the Coast Guard, and he gets in a weird hijink thing where these spies and all that are setting up a fake hot dog stand and trick him over and over and over again. And this is one of those ones that it really highlights Donald's dumb elements of it. And I feel bad for Donald in this situation. The boys saved the day. It's one of those again. We had another one where Gladstone and Donald are rivals. All right, we got that first one earlier in the book, and now they're just trying to prove they have more money for Daisy, and the boys trick both of them. Where's the fireman one that I was talking about? I know it's in here. Oh well, there was a fireman story in here, and I must have missed it at some point. I think I skipped over it by mistake, but yep, it's in here. Donald Duck becomes a fireman. Sheriff of Bullitt Valley, this is the second. There's two long stories in here, or I guess there's three. There's the Africa one. There's the one for which the book is named, which is the Old Castle Secret at the beginning. And then we have Sheriff of Bullitt Valley for the third long one. And this one is a Western, and Donald Duck is sure he can handle these crooks because he's seen so many Western movies. And hijinks ensue over the course of this entire thing. There's a whole deal with the brands and all that. And again, we get a weird invention dealing with the brands. All these cattle are getting branded by these thieves, and nobody can figure out why. And they have to assume that they're not the thieves because the cattle have brands on them. And it turns out there's this like radio device that shoots brands onto things. Again, a strange invention to explain strange happenstance in the story. Very creative and cool. And this is, again, a 32-pager, I believe, so it's pretty long in here. And Donald Duck eventually becomes sheriff. But there's no continuity, so Donald Duck will not be sheriff in the next story here. I don't even remember these. Oh, these are one-pagers. All right. One-pagers are not too much to talk about. I like the one-pagers and enjoy the gags. I think he does a really good job with them, and I've laughed out loud at several of them. Carl Barks' stuff really holds up over time, which is very nice. I'm not really discussing the art so much because Carl Barks is so consistent in the way that he draws these things. It's always the same from one thing to another. And as you see, Huey, Dewey, and Louie at this point are starting to get different colored caps. You can tell them apart rather than early in these stories where they had the same caps and they do not have the same caps. Oh, well, some of them they did. See, let's check it out here. These ones, they look exactly the same without caps. Very odd. Oh well, not consistent. What can you do? So this is a cute one where Donald's competing against Gladstone again, and Donald thinks he's getting holes in ones. And again, I don't know. That wasn't one of my favorite ones again. I don't know why ones are my favorites or ones are my not. I just enjoy some of them more than I enjoy others. And a couple of them resonate, a couple of them don't, but there's so many different stories in here. There's a little something for everybody, I think. And let's see. This one, they are trying to get a pearl for Daisy, and it doesn't quite work out. And the boys actually try to make fake pearls. That doesn't work out either. Then it goes to a 10-pager where they have to show their sportsman for Uncle Scrooge. Uncle Scrooge shows up again. I believe this is third appearance now? Is that right? He's only shown up in a couple stories in here. And Donald Duck is going to show he's a sportsman so that Scrooge can get some business deal. And it all messes up by accident. And womp womp. Easy come, easy go again. And that's how the volume ends. So a smattering of different stories in here. Like I said, there's a propensity for a common theme of a strange device being the cause of the problems, and them finding that, even though those devices may not exist in reality. And even though most of them are actually just very simple and could be realistic as just putting ducks in the place of humans type of gags to make it a cute story. I enjoyed this and found it very hard to put down, and I don't know that I enjoyed it as much as Volume 1, or Volume 5, I guess it is, which is the first appearance of Scrooge McDuck in, what was it called again? I'll remember all these at one point. Christmas on Bear Mountain, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless, and I'm not intending on slowing down reading any of these. Lots of fun all the way around, and I guess this one, I would call it like an 8.5 out of 10 as far as things go. Now, what was my favorite story in here? Because I want to try to identify my favorite out of the things in here. And for folk, probably not the Darkest Africa one, not the Society one. I liked the Night Watchman one where he's the Night Watchman. He's sleeping all the time and they have to wake him up, because that was pretty cute and fun. Probably this. What is it? They don't even have a name for the story, so there you go. We'll call it the Night Watchman one. There you go. Yeah, if you've read this, let me know what your favorite is, and if you enjoy this, and if you like the reviews and all that, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Most of these Donald Duck books are in print, and I just posted in the Don Rosa forum, like, why did the Donald Duck books stay in print very easily, but the ones that are labeled Uncle Scrooge instead sell out and become very expensive and hard to find online? I have no clue, because they all have Uncle Scrooge in it, and they all have Donald Duck in it. So it's just a labeling technique, and I guess who the main character is, but you'd think that somebody who's buying all these old Carl Barks books would just buy all of them, but I guess they don't. Interesting thought for the day. I will talk to you guys soon, and thank you for watching. We'll be back.